All right, Travel Cafe, it's time to pay attention. You don't really have to. That was just me asking nicely. I'm now competing with the Stella Artois glasses being engraved. It's a great opportunity for the folks to come and enjoy a little bit of the Indy Sports Show live. Brought to you at the Travel Cafe in the Champions Pavilion. A lot of activity going on. It's the heart of the day. Everybody's having a great time. A lot of folks here enjoying their lunch, grabbing cocktails. We started a little bit late, but there's a darn good reason for it. We try to do these things on the hour. However, an impromptu notification that there were 6 or 7, either recent or past inductees to the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame, and they decided to take our production crew over there, rightfully so, and capture that moment with all of them over in the Blue Ribbon Pavilion over in Tackletown. But we're here now, and we are so excited to do that because, as we've been mentioning, not only is it the 66th annual Ford Boat Sport and Travel Show, where we're in the Champions Pavilion, all the way across campus in this 700, 800,000 square feet that is the Boat Sport and Travel Show. Show within a show, the Deer Turkey Waterfowl Expo. It started on Thursday, and you know it's elbows to you know what over there, because it's the heyday, it's the big day for that show, and it's been a great opportunity. Wanted to bring some folks over. Joining me now, Chip Stoops. He's from Mulberry, Indiana. He's got a big booth over there. Big game taxidermy, Chip. That's what you're all about, and promoting some Africa bookings. It's nice to have you over here.
Pleasure.
It's probably good to get away from the crowd just a little less of a crowd over here.
Yeah, it's real nice to be over here, actually. Thank you.
Well, we'll get you out of there for a little bit, but no, it's truly, when they made this show an extra day, the Deer Turkey Waterfowl Expo, it could have gone all week long because it's so great.
Yes.
But it brings guys like you out here, and you kind of got a niche. You do big game taxidermy. What are you doing over there? What are you seeing? What are people coming to talk to you about?
No, they're all interested in a lot of different things, really. Anything from white-tailed deer being mounted to any African and anything from New Zealand and all that stuff. I mean, they've pretty much got...
I'm going to help you out here. There you go.
All right, you got to excuse my voice. It's a little crackly.
I know, you've been talking to a lot of people.
I've been talking so much that my voice is, just bear with me. I apologize. I'm not
No worries.
sick.
You're all good.
But anyhow, no, they've asked a lot of things about white-tailed deer and a lot of different things. It goes on and on and on. I could go on, but for the most part, I like to talk to them about getting them to a certain place so that they can get an animal to bring it back to get mounted.
So you've kind of grown into a specialty, which is big game in Africa in particular.
Yes.
Where's the passion for Africa coming from Mulberry, Indiana? How'd that all get started?
Well, I have to thank my dad and a lot of good friends. That's actually how it all started. And people coming into the shop wanting to know about hunting in different areas and my advice and where maybe I could send them and things before I started doing this. So I just took it up and I started actually sending them places and making sure that they was going to have a good trip and enjoy it and not have any bad times.
You know, I noticed as I was walking through there yesterday, a lot of Africa folks over there. That's probably good and bad, a lot of interest.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the things that I heard you talk about is you want to provide, if you're going to book a hunt over in Africa, you want to provide the African experience. What does that mean?
Well, I want you to be able to do the full African experience. You should be able to go into one of our river camps or something like that and experience that part of it too, as opposed to just being out and not being in a small area hunting where we've got 180,000 acres that we hunt on 3 different blocks. And we don't buy any animals to put in there for people. These animals are in there and breeding on their own and running around on their own.
Full free chase.
Yes, very much so.
And I know that there's a little bit of everything in Africa, just like there is here.
Yes.
But you got choices, and you're over there trying to educate people on what to do, how to do it right, based on whatever their desire might be.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the taxidermy side of this just for a little bit, because obviously you go over and you have that experience. What's the process for getting all those beautiful animals back to the United States? Has that changed over the years?
A lot of it has changed, yes. We got new CITES permits that you got to acquire for certain animals and things, and our giraffe have just recently hit a new CITES too. And it's not because they're endangered as bad as sometimes we got to take a few because there's too many in that area, and that's how that works. And nothing we shoot ever goes to waste. It all goes to the villages, and we provide food and stuff for hundreds of people while we're over there.
So you help to manage that process, even getting it back, and you want it to come back to your shop so that you can turn it around into that memorable, beautiful piece of art that is taxidermy.
Yeah, and I help people take care of that. I've got a booking agent, or I've got a broker that I deal with. It's top notch, and we can get most anything back that's within reason, it's legally taken.
How long does that take?
Some things to take up to 7 months. My Elon will be here in 2 weeks, and it's been like just 7.5 months now. Some things take a little longer with the permits and the CITES. It might take up to 2 years on some things. It depends on what you're having done with it.
So where is it in those 7 months? What's happened to it?
It sits in a storage facility, been salt dried and taken care of.
So let's talk about a little closer to home. A lot of folks maybe in the Travel Cafe have experience with that buck. And I know you don't do a lot of a deer, but you do some, but
yes.
You're not doing the small taxidermy. But you're an expert in it, and I want to talk about that. From the time you put that animal on the ground, what's the most important thing before they get it to a professional taxidermist? What do they need to do to make sure it's a quality piece?
Don't drive around with it in your truck showing everybody.
Dang it! That's my favorite thing to
do. Get it cooled down and get it taken care of and cooled as soon as possible, or frozen as soon as possible is what you want to do. Just freeze it if you can't get it to me or to your local taxidermist that you deal with. Take care of it that way, and just don't ride around with it in the back of your truck and show people for 2 weeks.
Yeah. You know, the meat and the care and the field dressing is all important. Do you want to see that deer? I don't know how to cape a deer. I've hunted deer for 40 years. It's on my list of things to do, to take it from the hoof to the table, dress it, process it, take the cape, do all that stuff. I've not done that. But do you want to see that animal with the meat on it still? Do you want to see just the cape? What do you prefer?
Well, normally what happens is a lot of guys will take it to a processing plant.
Yep.
And they'll let them know what they're going to have it mounted. So then they'll skin it and butcher it. Before they butcher it, they'll skin it properly.
Yeah.
And then it'll come in, usually with part of the neck meat and the head and stuff. Some guys are good enough, they do some caping and they know how to skin. So they'll go ahead and skin it out and bring it in that way.
So I know you travel around Safari Club International, a lot of these places. I'm always stunned at the artwork that you do as a taxidermist. It's an art form.
Thank you.
How do you keep creating new and better pieces?
Well, that's part of the fun challenge, because you never know what the next customer is going to bring in or what he really wants. So you're always dealing.
How does that questioning go? If I say, okay, I've got this beautiful piece, 10 pieces, whatever it might be, that I need to get some professional work done, I'm sure you have a series of questions.
Oh, yes.
How do you take it from those conversations to that beautiful piece of work?
A lot of times I'll ask them if they've got an idea of maybe what they want. Have they seen a picture?
Well, I live in a mobile home and I've got an elephant. That's a problem.
You got a big problem.
Not much a taxidermist can do with that.
No.
Keep going. It's an important question.
But no, a lot of times they can. A lot of times you can take. I can't remember.
Taking a piece from okay, you're going to ask that person questions. What are some of those questions? And first and foremost, I think I heard you say is, what do you have in mind? Where's it going to go maybe in your home?
Yeah, find out where they're going to put it, and if they've seen any pictures of anything they like, or I'll just start picking their brain. You know, how did you shoot it? What was it doing when you shot it? And I'll get them kind of answers. You know, was it looking left? Was it alert? Was it run? You know, what was it doing when you shot it? And then I'll try to put it back to
Hopefully
that last.
It wasn't on your ass.
Yes.
So I've seen some beautiful pieces, and I'm always a big fan of the creativity. Even like a coyote that has a quail, or maybe it's a lion or a big game cat over in Africa that's got a zebra or something.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and you just work through it. And as you're working, you kind of get new pictures in your mind and different ideas over time. And you just, for me, I've done it so long, it's just natural, and I can kind of see what the hunter is wanting in my mind. I can picture what he's wanting.
Yeah.
I draw my own pictures up in my head to know what they want, And then sometimes I'll sketch out a little picture and say, is this something similar to what you think you like?
How many pieces do you have going at any time?
Oh, upwards to 10 or 20 pieces at a time at least, sometimes more than that.
And I know it's a process, and I've admired the work of great taxidermists. You got to spend a little time, then go to something else and come back, because it doesn't just, you don't start and finish one beginning to end.
Sometimes you do, but most generally it's broken up because you're going from one project to another. And it's kind of good because in between them projects, you can take a break from one and start on another one, and then you can, something will pop in your head and you say, that's what I need to do.
And I know you do mostly African work and mostly big game stuff, but I assume it's all the same in the way it's processed and cared for?
Yeah, it's pretty much all the same. Everything I do is commercially tanned, no home tanning, none of that stuff. It's all professionally done, every step, all the way.
Is there a difference from the African species and the North American species in what you're working with?
After I get it back from the tannery, it's all the same. It's a piece of leather with fur on it or hair on it.
Yeah. So I know that, is there a lot of interest from Hoosiers over there in the Deer Turkey Waterfowl Expo about going to Africa?
Yeah, it seems like recently we've had a little bit more people wanting to go.
Why?
I'm not sure if there's just been a few people going and they've told people and they want to experience it, or it's maybe their bucket list thing they're wanting to do, but it just seems like it's gotten more interest in the last few years.
I consider myself kind of an example of every man, so to speak, and it's not on my bucket list, but it's on a lot of people's.
Yeah.
But what I've learned from talking to enough people who were like me is that they say if you go once, you're going to go again, and it's a bug. It's kind of like a turkey hunt. If you go once, it's in your blood. Once you start deer hunting, it's in your blood. What is it about those Africa trips?
Well, I tell you the truth, it changes you. You will come home a changed person.
Describe that.
Well, you get to experience a lot of culture and a lot of things that you'd never dream that you'd ever see or do, and it just kind of wakes you up on how good we really have it here and what the people over there go through, and just the whole ambiance of the whole safari and the scenery and all that, and it's sometimes it can be quite overwhelming, and it's just in awe.
Well, I'm going to tee this up for you because you're a professional and the expert, but I think it's a message that people need to hear. There's a lot of folks who are just ignorant,
Yes.
about Africa. And they have this perception that anybody goes to Africa is killing an endangered species. Why would they ever want to do that? I want you to give your professional opinion about what it's like over there, and the work that you do is so important to maintain those animals over there, and demystify this if you can in a few words. Speak freely.
If it wasn't for all the hunters that go over there and spend all the money that they spend traveling and going over there and shooting and doing this, we help take all the money, not all of it, but a lot of the money goes to support and protect the animals
anti-poaching
from poachers. So that's a big help there, because if there's no one there to help the animals and protect them and be the animal police, so-called, to keep the bad guys from coming and killing them, because they'll just wipe them out.
Is that a true statement? If it weren't for, I'm asking you to dig a little deeper here, because I think people don't understand how not only dangerous it is for those people that protect those animals, but how prevalent poaching is, and it would destroy the African ecosystem.
Yes, it would. And then we would not ever have a count or a number and know what we need to take or where they're at until it's too late. So we got to know where we're at in numbers in certain areas, because if you got too many in one area, of course you want to take a few. If you don't have enough in one area, then of course you don't want to take any, and that's where you want to stop the poachers from coming in for sure.
So people, again, have this perception. I believe in a full open dialogue. They can have those opinions.
Yes.
And I, as a hunter, I'm an ethical, professional, wants to do it right. I'm paying my money. I'm going to this experience. I want people to understand that you're not going over there to murder these beautiful creatures, and you're doing the work that's necessary, and have an open conversation with people that may have a difference of opinion.
I talked to a lot of people at my booth about this, and they don't really, because they'll walk up and they're like, ooh, why did they shoot that? And it's several reasons why we shoot animals. For one thing, we're hunters. That's what we do. We like to hunt. It's in our heritage. It's American heritage. It's what we've done forever, and that's just what we are.
Maybe Mike Bloomberg needs to go hunting. Never mind, that's another conversation.
But no, it's everything we shoot. Nothing goes to waste. It all feeds people from all over in different villages and stuff, and it's quite amazing to see a bunch of people come out of the brush and out of the bush that you never knew was even going to be around, and all of a sudden you see 6 or 8 guys coming from here and 6 or 8 guys coming from here, and then they just start packing meat and carrying meat, and then they just disappear with it back where they come from.
Yeah. It is a unique experience, and I've heard and I've said this, it gets in your blood. You're doing a good work over there. You're being a good evangelist for the hunters and doing the right work. I know there's several over there that I'm sure you guys are all friendly in competition and stuff.
We're still friends.
There's a menu of opportunities, let's put it that way, to go to Africa. And you also, being from Indiana, Hoosier, got to make sure we talk about the big game taxidermy. People can come out to the Boat Sport and Travel Show, the Deer Turkey Waterfowl Expo. Stop by and say hello to Chip Stoops. Which booth are you in?
I'm in aisle 200.
Aisle 200.
I'm right behind the.
Just look for this beautiful, good-looking hat right here. Tell them you heard him here at Facebook Live, the Indy Sports Show. Folks, we still got more to come. I'm going to tease this because at 4 o'clock, we're going to have one of the living legends who join us. He's probably the best known, one of the top 5 most recognizable professional anglers in the history of fishing. I don't have to say much more. He's got white hair. You're going to want to be here at 4 o'clock. Jimmy Houston is going to be with us here on this couch. We got more to come between now and then. It's Indy Sports Show Live. We're at the Deer Turkey Waterfowl Expo, Boat Sport and Travel Show in the Travel Cafe in the Champions Pavilion. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Marketing and fallen short? Use video marketing from NKT Productions. It's effective, economical, and it can be used across multiple devices. Capture your customers where they spend their time most, on TV, websites, email, and social media. Don't miss your chance to show the world how great your business is with video marketing. Experience the power of video marketing through NKT Productions. Meet with one of our experienced media agents to learn more.